The path to becoming film director isn't always straight. After his graduation in business management, Alessandro first worked at an advertising company and then as an account manager at the Juventus football club. Something was missing in his life though, and he decided to follow his passion and started knocking at doors. Let's go straight to the heart of the question. I have here Alessandro with me. Thanks so much for being part of the podcast. I would like to ask you, what is your job today?
Hi, thank you for having me. My job today is director of TV shows and commercial films, and sometimes also of short films and feature films.
Now, I think that many who are listening today would like to be in your shoes. Now, what took you to get to your shoes today?
Well, actually, I have a peculiar background since I graduated in management for arts, culture and entertainment in Milan, Bocconi University. But I had this passion about filmmaking, which I began doing when I was 12. And after graduated and after 5 years of working as a commercial account for advertising sales company and an Italian football team, I decided to change everything, to change my life and, let's say, follow the heart. And I had the chance to work for a small production company as a filmmaker, opening my tax number. Since then, it's 4 years, I'm working as a director for that company. I grew in these years, and now I work as a director, which was something I really dreamt of.
So you studied at the university that gave you a degree. Did you start working in that specific field before you became a director? And what was it?
Yeah, I graduated as a manager, basically, and I started working in an advertising sales company, and I was accountable for brand partnerships and brand solutions. So I started working coherently with my academic career. Then I moved to Turin and I worked for an Italian football company, Juventus Football Club. I was accountable for some partners of the team. So after 5 years of working as a commercial account, I decided that something was wrong, basically. I wasn't happy of doing what I was about to do every day, waking up in the morning. I didn't feel so well, let's say. So I started looking for another job closer to what I liked the most, which is movie production and movie making. After 6 months of job research, I had the chance to start working for a small production company, but they asked me to give up my long-term contract instead of a tax number. So I became a freelance filmmaker and I start over. I changed my life, I changed the city again, and so far I'm very happy of that decision.
For those who don't know, when you are independent, you open a VAT number, tax number, and so you're independent, hence there's more risks. And when you have let's say a fixed job, like we say in Italy, that's of course you're an employee and it's a more secure life that you have. So they asked you basically to give up your secure life to become an independent, but then to go and follow your dream as a director, right? And between the 5 or more years that you were working following your studies, did you continue shooting films or being involved in filmmaking?
Absolutely, yes, that's the fact. I continued working on my passion as a filmmaker. When I had free time, for instance, in the weekends, I used to shoot short films with my friends, and that's what helped me being able to do what I do now, basically. I am totally self-taught on this. I didn't attend any school or academy, and nurturing my passion is what helped me on being able to do what I do now without any academic background on it. So in the 5 years of my first jobs, I kept on doing what I liked the most in the few spare time I had. And thanks to that, I can do what I do now.
That's great, because it's not easy, especially in the field of filmmaking. It's so anybody's guess, really, because there's need of talent, good luck, and being at the right time at the right place. So that's, congratulations to you. Are you able today to live from your art and from your directing?
Yeah, thankfully today I'm able to live with my job, which is filmmaking, and I think that this is my greatest success so far, because I was scared about before taking this decision was, will I be able to live with it? Will I be able not to ask my parents any help? And since I'm doing it by myself, I think that this is my greatest success.
That's great. So you said that you started to look for jobs and look for companies. Was it hard to get the first door open?
Yeah, it was. I had some doors shut on my face the first times I asked for this kind of jobs, because I hadn't any background that could be interesting for them. But you know, as they say, it helps you anyway. Failure makes you stronger for the next one. So it wasn't easy, but one person trusted me, and thank him, now I'm here.
Looking back at your academic background, do you find that what you studied is helpful today for what you're doing?
Yeah, in a certain way, I think that what I studied, it is helping me anyway today, because I learned a method. I learned how to deal with people. I learned how to speak to people. And I think that these are skills that I'm using today, day by day. For instance, director as a role is not an only artistic role. It's a person that should be able to deal with a lot of people at the same time, being patient, having a problem-solving attitude. I think that these soft skills I had the chance to learn at the university. So yeah, I think that the path I had somehow is helping me a lot today anyway. Of course, there are hard skills that you can learn in the field. You know, making movies help you learning how to make movies. So those skills are something that I couldn't learn at my university, since I studied something totally different. Yeah, I think that my academic path helped me a lot on what I'm doing today, since there are a lot of soft skills that I'm using every day. For instance, being on a set means talking to a lot of people. I learned how to deal with them, how to being a problem solver, and these are all skills that are helpful on my actual job. So yes, my academic background really did help me, and I'm happy of having done it.
Talking about skills, because of course there are hard skills, like you say, and soft skills. What do you think are the most precious skills that you need to have as a director, now that you've been a director for a few years?
I think that being a problem solver is the most important skill you should have. Also, being able to talk to different people at the same time, usually with people with different needs. So you should be able to deal with different things coming to you from different part of the room, and being able to solve them in a very, very narrow time window.
So for people who don't know what a director does, could you tell me like a typical day? Let's say Massimo, our common friend, calls you and says, "Hey, Alessandro, I got a job for you. Here's the script. What do you do? What's the next steps you do?"
So the director is accountable for all the departments on a set, which means being accountable for the set design, the audio department, the sounds, the lights and grips, the casting, and also for the post-production part, which means the editing, the color grading, the music, the soundtrack, and so on and so forth. And which means having the last word on each part of the construction of the movie. The movie can be a short movie, can be a commercial, can be a TV show, it doesn't matter. But there are a lot of people that will ask you an answer to their question. You must give them the answer straight away.
So in your case, how do you visualize? So you have the script in front of you, and you need to transform this into moving images. What is the next step you take? Do you make sketches? Do you call actors to start making some scenes? Do you start doing the set design with other people? What is your first intuition, let's say?
Well, first of all, I think that what I do is to visualize all the scenes in my mind, to start making a sequence of images to tell the story with moving images, as you said. So first, after making this vision, I try to draw the scenes in a storyboard, which they call storyboard. After that, I start organizing the production with the producer, which means what we need to do that. We need a location, which is an apartment, let's say, for instance, and we need 3 actors, and we start the casting. After having made the storyboard, I start looking for the director of photography, the set design, and the casting, of course. And these steps all collaborate for the final results. So, yeah. First the vision, then the practical things.
And then come all the problem-solving parts. So the actor being sick and the set not being what you were looking for, and so forth. So what is next for you? Like, what would you like to do next? Now you're doing a lot of commercials, I understand. What would be a next step for you? Would you like to continue in this, or would you like to do feature-length films, documentaries?
I like making feature films the most, so I hope to start making more and more of them.
Is there a myth around the job of a director that you can mention?
Well, there are a lot of myths around my job and my field, and they say that networking is the key for success, for instance. I would say yes, it is true, but it also depends on what success means. And as I said, for me, success is something very personal, like being happy doing what I do every day. So in that case, I obtained it. But if success means having big money or having a feature films on the screen, then I failed. But however, networking is something very useful for the job. So pay attention to that and be yourself.
If somebody is listening to you and they could ask you, what would you do differently? Is there something you've learned? Now you're still young, so you'll have a lot of years experience ahead of you. But if you could go back in time and start all over again, what would you do differently?
I know it sounds weird, but so far I won't do anything different. But let's have the same conversation in 10 years and maybe I can change my mind.
Is there anything that you thought would work one way and then it worked actually a different way? Meaning something unexpected that you didn't think would happen when you're doing filmmaking, along your career path that you want to share?
Once we were on a beach shooting a TV show, and I chose one location in the beach, but after choosing it, this perfect storm came and we need to change the location straight away. And the new location, which was an emergency location indoor beside the previous one, which was outdoor, it ended up being much better than the one I chose before. So, serendipity, let's call it like that.
Okay, great. And one question specifically to directing, because when I was working in the film industry, I remember there was so much creativity, but as well there was a budget. So when you think creatively, about a scene, about a setup, and about much cast you want to have, at what point do you do a reality check? And then how do you think budget with your creativity? How do you make these two fit?
Well, I think that the most creative part of my job is to make the budget fit the desires of the client or my desires. So it is very hard to coming back to the ground sometimes. But, the creativity cannot live without the budget. So the most difficult part is to make great things with the budget. And I think that this is the most difficult part of my job, because sometimes I want to do something very cool, something very bold, but I end up doing something, more practical and on a budget. Still, I think that the most rewarding part of the day in that case is to obtain something cool with the means you have, without asking for big grips or a lot of people to help you.
And looking at the things that you enjoy most, because of course there's the hard part being the budget and matching creativity with the reality, but what do you enjoy most in your job?
I enjoy pushing my creativity to the limit to tell something which can be a story, an emotion, or make someone feeling something. And that is the most important thing to me. I really like telling stories by images. So now I wake up every day thinking, okay, I'm going to do something I love. And of course, there are days I'm doing something I don't like, but I still love those things. So this is what I love the most.
That's awesome. I don't know if you had an anecdote you wanted to share with us, or maybe a fun anecdote about your job, and then we can come to conclusions.
When we were shooting a short movie once in Trentino, in Italy, we had a drone scene. We had a drone shot to be done, and the time schedule was so narrow that we have very, very short time to do that scene. So we did it. Then we started packing everything to move away. As soon as we decided, okay, now we go away, we heard the drone being still up in the air. And luckily we make it going back down, and luckily it was still there. We didn't forget it in the air.
You are gonna pack without the drone. That would be a first. Well, that's been very, very inspiring. Thank you very much, because it's not easy to follow your dream, and it's not always a happy ending. But I think that the happy endings are what we want to make of our ending. So it's and you still have lots of years in front of you, and I wish you all the best with your career. And let's say rendezvous in 5 years from now, so that we can see about all these check marks if it's been the case. Okay, and thanks a lot for being part of the Job Tales podcast.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for having me here, and let's have a follow-up in 5 years.
Following your dream requires taking important decisions in life. Get out of your comfort zone and accept that you may fail. The rewards are great though, and you might succeed, like Alessandro. And you, what is that you like most? Share your passion with us at Job Tales.